problem with this beast has, it doesn't know what else to do. Its existence is based on the will to power, and it knows no other way of living than by seeking ever more power over others, and an act that is necessarily violent and is going to result in our deaths, basically. And just like in the fairy tales of old, I think the time has come for us to go out there and slay that dragon. I don't think we can wait that much longer. Time, I think, is running out for us. With the Lisbon Treaty coming into force at the beginning of December, with the vaccination programs continuing, albeit at a very slow rate, much slower than they hoped, with the carbon taxes and the Copenhagen Treaty about to destroy our economies, I don't think we have years or even 2 years. I think we have a very short window of opportunity of maybe months to stop this. And I think to stop this, we're going to have to cultivate the old-fashioned virtues of the hero and the fairy tale. We're just going to have to get up on our horses, get out our swords, and go up to the beast, confront it, and simply slay it. Now, the act of killing this beast need not require actual physical weapons, but it will require us to be determined and to use our intelligence. This beast lives and breathes the oxygen of deceit, and we have to deprive it of that oxygen by spreading facts, evidence, and truth. This is an information war. Information is related to knowledge, and this revolution is in fact a knowledge revolution. It will be one if the circle of knowledge is expanded, and it will be one if every one of us expands our circle of knowledge. And if we spread that knowledge to other people, our understanding of the world at the moment is in inverse proportion to our consumption of the mainstream media. And the collection of reports that appear in the mainstream media are just there to create an artificial public consensus that suits the purposes of the beast. And the alternative media is not necessarily much better, just as the right-left political paradigm in the political or in politics is a false paradigm. The mainstream alternative media is also, to some extent, a false paradigm. What we really need to seek is the independent media, which offers objective facts and solid information. It's up to us then to use our judgment and decide, what do we believe in? What do we think is the truth? How do we, what do we believe is going on in our world? What is shaping our lives? And what are we going to do about it? And nobody can take that responsibility from each one of us. And the more knowledge we have, the more skills we have in reasoning and thinking, the better we'll be able to cope in this information war. We, I think, have to not only think about slaying this beast in the next few weeks, we have to think about what's coming after this. What kind of a future do we want? What kind of a society do we want to live in? And how are we going to achieve it? What are the practical, concrete steps that we're going to undertake to make this society a reality? We've all heard about revolutions turning into bloody, violent affairs in history as they've been hijacked by the very forces that we thought we had ejected from power. This must not be allowed to happen again. And the only guarantee for it not happening again is if every single person says, from now on, I'm not going to give my responsibility to elected officials or even to experts. I'm going to participate in the political process myself. I'm going to make the decisions about how the money is going to be spent in our community, how we're going to, whether we're going to install renewable energy, what kind of food we're going to grow, what kind of an economic little microsphere we're going to have in our community. This actually works very, very well in Switzerland. Switzerland is one of the few countries where there is still direct democracy at local level. People gather in places like this, and somebody comes along and says, we've got so and so much money, and these are the proposals for how we are going to spend it, and then people discuss and debate how their money is going to be spent in their community. And actually, it turns out to be extremely efficient. The communities are, on the whole, very well run, and there's very little corruption. Then people are elected to go into the parliament, and they're local people. They're people the Swiss know who are living in the house next door, the teacher in the school, and these people remain in the community even while they're serving their terms in the parliament. And there are lots of instruments for people to get information at a local level and federal information. They can ask questions, and the government is obliged to give an answer. And I think we need to go back to this model myself. I think we need to get more local about our decision-making process, and everybody has to start getting involved again in figuring out what's going to happen with their communities. I also think that we need to link up with people in the USA, in Europe, in Latin America, in Africa, and in Asia, and start a really genuine grassroots revolutionary movement in the next few months. That we're fighting an international corporate crime syndicate, and we can only do this effectively if we join forces across the whole globe. Indeed, we have a great opportunity. We have an opportunity to found a really peaceful, prosperous new era if we work together. I believe, we can't know what the outcome is going to be of our efforts. We don't know what's going to happen in a week or 2 weeks' time. We don't know if a nuclear bomb is going to go off or what factors are going to come into play. But I do believe that if every single person in this room decides, I want to make a difference, I can make a difference, I will build this better world, then it will happen sooner or later. It is up to every single person here tonight to, I believe, to accept the responsibility and the challenge that is facing our particular generation for the sake of the next generation and people in other countries. And I ask you please to get up there and slay the dragon. So that's my presentation.
Free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors, for as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local. It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.